Recruiter here to review your resumes. The resume we have up first is a machine learning engineer. We don't know if this resume is good or garbage. They did not tell me their ratio, which is how you can tell how good or bad your resume is. A resume should be getting a minimum of 1 interview per 50 applications. Anything over 50 applications to 1 interview is bad. Anything under is good. And they did not tell me their ratio, so who knows? Maybe this is a great resume. They left me a note that says, please continue this type of video. It helps a lot. We need exposure and guidance. Thank you so much, sir. No worries. I am glad to help y'all out by roasting your resumes. So what do we need for a machine learning engineer? And I do more than tech, but 90% of the resumes sent to me are tech. So most of them are tech. But for a machine learning engineer, we need degree, machine learning, ML, cloud, CI/CD, Databricks, Git, SQL, Python, Java, C#, .NET. Cross-functional and can communicate technical plans to non-technical people. This is huge. You need to do this. So many engineers do not put this on their resume. And except for software engineers like Python and Java and full stack, you want it. You want to be able to communicate deeply technical things to people that are deeply untechnical, because your boss may not be able to turn on their computer and they're going to ask you what a machine learning is. So ML frameworks and libraries, there's more than Skibbity, Learn Pandas, and NumPy, and TensorFlow, and PyTorch, but those are just some of them. So as long as I see one of those, we're good. The scale of the systems you built, non-technically, I just want to see the number of users, not the technical numbers. You don't want any numbers in your resume besides the job title or the job besides the phone number and the dates of employment. And training, tuning, deploying models in production environments for 0 to 1. So let's see if we can find that. Is this good or bad? Don't know. Let's find out. Recruiters only have 20 seconds and go. Okay, this might be an intern. This doesn't count. Built an end-to-end pipeline. Okay, doesn't matter. Benchmark logistic regression. I don't know what that is, and it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. XG boost, churn, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter except for Hugging Face. Actually does matter. Multi-agent can matter for time. That's it. Time. So, 2 things. 1, this is a garbage resume for a machine learning engineer. 2, I think this is not a machine learning engineer. I think this is a machine learning engineer intern. And what you want for an intern is going to be different than what you want for a full-time role. So this right here is the intern. Oh, and I accidentally deleted my intern one. So what do we need for a intern? Well, you need this. Okay, cool. I can't. I'm glitching everything. I'm sorry, y'all. Here we go. You need this. Of machine learning. So we need some of this stuff prior. This is the only things you need for an internship. Although, if you notice, I did not find that for an internship anyway. So this would fail regardless. So for interns, you need a basic knowledge of whatever it is you're doing, in this case, machine learning, your degree, the ability to work well with others, and take direction and criticism. And that is it. So these are the things that we need. These are the things that I did not find in that. So let me go over this and tell you why this resume stinks. So first things first, skill sections don't matter. Do not put any skill sections. Your formatting should look like this. This is the way to do it. The link is in the description below. This is the best way to write your resume for almost every single person on the market. But text, this does not matter. Nothing here can be used. And the reason nothing there can be used is we are not keyword hunting. There is a misnomer that recruiters are keyword hunting, and we are not. Maybe bad recruiters are, but good recruiters and average recruiters are qualification hunting. And a qualification is a keyword, which is what the hiring team needs, which is right here, plus how you used it, plus the non-technical business reasons you did it, plus where you did it. And if it's not the what, the how, the why, the where, it does not count. So that is why a technical skills section does not count, is it only has the what, it does not tell me the how, the why, or the where. Now, these bullet points are garbage. So, remember what I said earlier about explaining things in a non-technical way. You need to do that with your resume, because this entire thing is filled with hot dogs. You've got a logistics regression. Cool. Doesn't matter. Now, you may have a bunch of people come in and say, well, this is an amazing resume. This person has boosted a XG boost from 0.5 to 0.35, successfully boosting churn recalls by 17% to 69% to maximize high customer identification while maintaining 77.9% accuracy. And you'll be like, that's a phenomenal engineer. And it's like, yeah, but it doesn't matter if you're good. It matters if you're relevant. And none of that stuff is relevant to what the managers would want us to look for. So assuming this was a full-time role and not an internship, this is filled with hot dogs. And what I mean by that is, I want you to imagine you are hungry. You go to a restaurant. You're like, I'd like a hamburger with cheese. So just a cheeseburger. And the waiter says, all right, cheeseburger coming right up. So they go back, they come in, and they give you a hot dog with cheese. And they say, here is your cheeseburger. And you're like, no, this is a hot dog with cheese, not a cheeseburger. And they say, well, a hot dog has meat just like a hamburger. A hot dog has buns just like a hamburger. And a hot dog can't have cheese just like a hamburger. So when you said you wanted a cheeseburger, what you actually meant was a hot dog. You would walk away without paying, because that is not what you wanted. And that's the exact same problem here. Does this mean this person is the best engineer in the world because they got a logistics regression of 0.849 on Rock Uok? Maybe, but it doesn't matter because it's not relevant. If it's not a part of the qualifications, which again includes keywords, it does not count. So it doesn't matter that this person did all this stuff, except for Hugging Face. I will say Hugging Face is something I need, but you didn't tell me how you did it, and you didn't tell me the non-technical reason you did it. So even though you did put the right keyword, you did not put the right qualification, and thus this sentence doesn't count. So I want you to go back to the drawing board, and I want you to make your resume, which in this case, if you're going for internships, like this, all right? Interns need to show they can work well with others and take direction and criticism. If you do not show that as an intern, you are not going to get hired. All this technical stuff is garbage. And I know that sounds insane because you've only been doing it, but the key to writing a resume is writing it to somebody that does not understand anything you do. And I'm not saying just for not just for the recruiter, for the hiring manager. You need to show that you can explain complex topics to non-technical people. And you have shown through your bullet points that you cannot do that. So this is why this resume sucks. This is why this person is I'm assuming getting rejected, because they didn't tell me their actual ratio. But they wrote this for an audience that does not exist. So again, this may be impressive. This may show that you are actually the best engineer in the world, but it doesn't matter if you're the best engineer in the world. They don't want the best hot dogs in the world. They only want a cheeseburger. And if you don't make your resume filled with hamburgers, you're going to have a bad time. So that is all I can do for this resume, which there is plenty wrong. Mainly because they tried to show how good they are, and you can't. You can't show how good you are through a resume. That's not what they're for. A resume's purpose is to show you meet the minimum qualifications. That's it. Not that you supersede the maximum, that you meet the bare minimum to move forward to an interview where they then determine if you actually supersede. So I'm not saying you can't be the best ever. I'm saying it doesn't matter for a resume. It does for the interview. In the interview, you do have to prove you're better than others, but not for the resume. So let's go to the next resume, but before we do, I just want to thank everybody for watching and give an extra special thanks to my members. They get access to videos early. If you want to join, you can join in the link below, but thank you very much for supporting this channel. Your membership means a lot to me. I really, really appreciate it, so thank you very much. And if anybody wants their resume reviewed, they can always join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on YouTube right here and twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. But let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a software engineer intern. We don't know their ratio again, so again, we don't know if it's good or garbage. They said they're looking for a software engineer intern role as an international student, which I don't think that matters that much. Once you're trying to get a full-time role, it will matter, but I don't think I've ever seen internationals that are, like in the US have trouble getting internships specifically. So I actually don't think the international matters that much in this case. In a T20 school, that's nice. We probably won't recognize it. Just need some general advice. The current job I have is going, so I will have more points for agentic roles. They're a rising junior. Let's see. They wanted some insights on their bullet points or anything to optimize their chances. So yeah, let's find out what we have. So what do we need for an intern? We need, again, basic knowledge of whatever it is you're interning in. In this case, software engineer. You're going to pick a stack. What stack? It doesn't matter. You just pick one. So pick, full stack, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, or Python and Docker, or Java and Spring Boot, or C#.NET and I actually don't know the other one for C#.NET. ASP.NET, maybe? I don't know. So just a basic tech stack, then SQL, a little bit of cloud, a little bit of AI, object-oriented programming, and this is the most important part, the ability to work well with others and take direction and criticism. If you were going for a full-time role, you wouldn't need that, but interns need that. And the interns that have less tech but more social skills are the ones that are going to get more interviews and more jobs. So let's see if I can find what I need, and we can determine if this resume is good or garbage. So 20 seconds on the clock, and go. Oh, this formatting is atrocious. Okay, built a benchmarking pipeline for Teams Red multi-agent and Amazon. Okay, don't really care. Deploying AWS is good, but I don't care about this. Diagnosed a Python. What are you, a doctor? Schema via don't care, don't care, don't care. This doesn't matter. Diagnosed a time. Yeah, there's like one thing that's saving this resume, and that's the fact that, I didn't mean to, I highlighted the wrong thing there. And that's the fact is you at least say some of the stuff that I'm looking for, and multi-agent is always good, but this is real bad and you're going to need to redo it. Again, you built this for a technical audience, and the people reading your resumes are not going to care. So again, you may be a phenomenal engineer. You may be in the top 20 universities, which most people may not even recognize. Building a benchmark for a team's multi-agent, but you overdid this. And also, if you're doing a multi-agent and we're doing the infrastructure of multi-agent, I'd prefer to just see the tool you use, like LangGraph for that, or I think N8N. Like, you need to use the actual tool used for the multi-agent if you're doing multi-agent systems. Which, by the way, they love multi-agent systems. But this, you can't just say multi-agent. You have to tell me the tools. Because I don't really care about Amazon's Nova AI challenge. Why is that relevant for an intern? It's not. AWS is, but again, you don't tell me how you did it, and you don't tell me the non-technical reasons you did it. So the only thing I really see here is, so the first part is fine. Multi-agent system, blah, 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 AWS, blah, 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 Docker, and that's it. But again, this is not a qualification because you do not tell me the non-technical reason you did it. What was the point of putting this stuff in? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Diagnosed, again, are you a doctor? Python, nothing here is useful. The only thing I see is Python, but again, you do not tell me how or the why. So this sentence might as well not exist. Developed an exploit verification, nothing here. Agent orchestration could be. I was a little too quick there. Agent orchestration could be. But again, that's all you mentioned. You don't tell me how you did it. You don't tell me why you did it. You don't tell me the non-technical reasons. And each bullet point needs a minimum of 3 keywords. And then we go down to here, and there is nothing that matters, nothing that matters, nothing that matters. I care about Python, but this is the too technical, so this doesn't count, and SQL. Reduced onboarding, okay, and then no one's going to get that far down. So your problem is you don't have what I need. This is a resume that is filled with the best hot dogs in the world, but I don't care. I have an allergy to hot dogs. I only eat hamburgers. And right now this resume has nothing. And if I went to a restaurant that served me this when I asked for hamburgers, I would leave basically hungry because there's nothing I could eat except like 1 or 2 bits. So This doesn't work. None of this works. You are trying too hard to impress us, which isn't there. And again, you don't show how you can work well with others and take direction and criticism. I have seen engineers with just Python, let's say, what was, let me remember correctly, with JavaScript, TypeScript, HTML, CSS, SQL, and RESTful APIs get jobs over people that have their resume looking like this because they showed how they can work well with others and take direction and criticism. You need to show the non-tech stuff. There is a giant myth that in tech, if you are good enough, you won't have to deal with another person, that you could do all this stuff. And the answer is no, not really. No one's going to work with you. No one's going to hire you if you can't work with others. And that was a myth that happened, ages went when software engineers were super rare. But right now you're not. There's a dime and a dozen resumes that look exactly like this with these exact achievements that mean absolutely nothing and nothing that shows me what I actually want. So I need you to simplify this. I need you to delete it and start again. And I need you to make sure you have what is actually here. And please, you need to show, take direction and criticism and work well with others. For an intern, once you graduate, you don't need to do that anymore. But for an intern, it is critical. Next resume. This is a resume of a full stack software engineer. They said they're not getting any interview calls. What should I do to improve my resume? So what do we need for a full stack? We need degree, right? That's required for the majority of roles is the degree. TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Everybody fights me on this. I don't care. Almost every single job description is having those 4 things. So if you do not have those 4 things in the first half of the first bullet point you have, you are going to get rejected. RESTful API or REST API, SQL, Cloud, any of them. Backend, Python, C#, .NET, or Java, React, React.js, Angular, Node.js, Vue.js, DevOps, CI/CD, Agile, Git, and extra credit for all that other stuff. So this person accidentally doxed themselves, so I cannot scroll anywhere past this page. And this person is in India, but I have gotten people jobs in India with my advice. I've gotten people jobs in the United States, Canada, Mexico, India, Africa, EU, UK, and I think Singapore. I really want to remember where, but I think it was Singapore. So my advice does work outside the US. I will say it's not a one-to-one translation. I'd say it's about 90% as effective. So if it's A+ here, it's an A outside of the US. There are going to be some slight differences. So let's see what this person is doing wrong and why they're not getting any interviews. So 20 seconds on the clock and go. This doesn't matter. Where's your degree? Okay, all the way at the bottom, but you do have it. Architected a no-code workflow automated platform with React Flow. I don't care about that. Enabling non-technical users to configure complex logics. Okay, this is engineered and event-driven backend with conditional REST hooks and recovery, replacing time. Yeah, I can understand why this is not good. Your formatting is terrible. Remember, no skills sections. They do not help. I cannot use a single thing in there. Your education should be here. So this is the big E of where education is. Not the emperor of mankind, but the education is the big E in this case. So that is the problem. The education should be there. And again, remember, you want your resume to look like this. This is the previous one. You want your resume to look like this. This is how you do it. It needs to do this. This bolding makes it harder to read. This percentages are awful. And if you notice, I really didn't find JavaScript, HTML, or CSS, which is probably going to be an instant rejection. Usually companies are going to want those. I know TypeScript implies, but that doesn't matter. And remember, you don't want numbers in your resume. The only numbers that are okay in your resume are your dates of employment, which you should have, your contact information, which is all the way up at the top, so contact information, and that's it. Those are the only numbers that you need to have in your resume, with some very, very, very few exceptions. Because I don't care that you reduced client onboarding time by 87%. Why does that matter? Have you ever seen a job that is saying you need to reduce onboarding time by 87%? No, you don't. Enabling non-technical users to configure complex business logic is closer to what I want. I don't think that's a terrible bullet point, but it's still a little bit too technical. Why does it matter that they used complex business logic? What is a complex business logic? I don't know. You didn't tell me. So this is close to what I want, but it's just not quite good enough. And then here, engineered and event-driven. Stop bolding? Stop bolding things. You engineered a backend. I don't care that it's event-driven. With conditional branching, why does that matter? It doesn't. REST, don't want REST. Remember, I want RESTful APIs or REST APIs. No more, no less. You need to be very specific with the words you use in your resume because JavaScript is different than Java, which means REST webhooks may be different than RESTful APIs or REST APIs. Because the very first thing you learn as a tech recruiter is Java is different than JavaScript. Because, oh my gosh, if you make that mistake, no one will ever believe you on anything ever again. Which is fair. It's a pretty rookie mistake. But because Java is different than JavaScript, except when it's not, you need to be very careful with the rest of your language. Because we learned that, well, if Java is different than JavaScript, then REST webhooks may be different than RESTful APIs or REST APIs. That React Flow may be different than React and React.js. And that is the problem, is because of that, this doesn't count. Because of that, this doesn't count. And again, let's see, reducing with maintain. I don't know why this is important. It's not. It's still too technical. Optimize LLM streaming pipelines for blah, 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 blah. This doesn't matter. Hot dog. Python and Django I actually care about. See, this one is okay. This is understandable. I don't want the number though. Stop putting the number. Is eliminating hours of manual data per week is fine. In fact, I would prefer you to say that. Eliminating hours of manual data reconciliation for the finance team. This is the only time in this resume I have seen a good non-technical why. So I want to congratulate with you. Again, the number makes it bad, but the rest of it isn't. And again, why do I care about Tally Prime or Odo? I don't. It's hot dogs. This resume is so deep technical, and it's mostly the wrong stuff anyway, that I can't even move forward. So I'm gonna need you to try again. I need you to write the rest of your bullet points. Well, at least end the rest of your bullet points like this, but just say, architected a automation platform using TypeScript, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, which enabled our non-technical users to, I don't know what you did. I don't know what business logic is in this case, but that is how you would at least start it. So this does not work because of that. And this is why you're getting rejected left and right, is no one understands what you do. And most of this resume is filled with hot dogs. Next resume. This is a resume of another intern. So we already know what we need. This person has some good applications. So they've sent about 500 applications. They've gotten they've gotten 10 interviews from that. So this is a passable resume. This is the equivalent of a C-. 1 in 50 is a C-, in that while you can definitely do a lot better, it does pass, and a pass is a pass. So I'm expecting to find some of what I need on this, but the formatting is going to be off, or something is going to be off that most companies are going to miss it. So 20 seconds on the clock. Let's find out. And they stated, goal is fintech and possibly quant. Well, quant will require different qualifications than a software engineer. I want to let you know. Quant is different than software engineering, even though it is a part of software engineering. It's just how it works. Like, what they need is going to be different. Remember, you got to focus on what they need. Want to thank you for having this and helping people with their resume, and roast me to cinders if you can. So, no worries. That is what I will do. Hopefully I will. I don't think I'm going to roast you to cinders, though, because, again, this does pass. Like, a 1 in 50 is a pass by my own metrics. So 20 seconds on the clock and go. Okay, degrees up top. This doesn't matter. Ooh, Taekwondo is cool. This doesn't count. Built a Node.js TypeScript webhook, okay, that routes AI support to Sendex. Perfect. Scaled inventory, don't care. Don't really care. Reduced overall risk occurrence, sort of don't really care. Enabled end-to-end flow, checkout, Stripe, shape products, proposing microcode improvements, step indicators, and option flow. Time. I understand why this is a 1 in 50. There's some good stuff here. There's also a lot of bad stuff. So, first things first, what I would recommend you do is use my format. This is a bit of a formatting issue in that it's like a needle in a haystack. In this case, the haystack is filled with hot dogs, and I'm trying to search for hamburgers. There's just a lot here, and most of it is irrelevant, but the stuff that isn't irrelevant is solid. So if we just shrink this without doing anything else, if we just removed what was in red, your ratio will probably just immediately improve into 1 in probably a 40. But we can do better than that. So, first off, please use my formatting. This is what you want to do. Second off, this doesn't matter. Relevant coursework is never relevant. Okay, so there's some good and bad here. All right. Oh, dog is going crazy. Bear, you're fine. People are allowed to be outside. Okay. Sorry about that, y'all. So, achievements in Valorant doesn't really matter. But, like, being the top 1% globally peaked, it's not the terrible part if you put it on the bottom. But a black belt in Taekwondo does matter. And the reason the difference between these mattering is I do understand this is a team game. People may not know this is a team game. But martial arts are one of those things where you have to have a good amount of social skills because you are going to be punching and kicking people, and the jerk in martial arts gets kicked out of the dojo. So I don't think these are terrible, but you actually want to reverse these. Is put the black belt first, and then maybe put this achievement down here. Could it help? Probably not, but there's a couple of managers that might like it. Then we need to remove this, okay? Right here. Remove this. Again, technical skill sections don't matter. And your first sentence is mostly great. Built a Node.js, TypeScript webhook pipeline that routes intercom AI support conversations to Zendesk agents. Perfect. When unresolved, automatically servicing Salesforce contract data in agent sideboard to cut context switching during live sessions. You tell me very explicitly what you did and why you did it. I would prefer maybe just a teeny bit more about the non-technical why, like what was the point, like why exactly, but I could understand some people understanding that. And then here, this doesn't matter. No one cares about this. No one cares about this. No one cares about this. And then this, mostly no one cares about. And then this, let me double check this one. I skimmed it because everything else wasn't there. But maybe there is something salvageable here in the right payment. No, not really usable. So this part should be deleted. And then this part should be deleted. And then we have the startup, which again, this shows that you can work well together with others. Like these two things alone are saving your resume. So what I want you to do, because this also shows you can work well with others, is I want you to write more of your sentences like your first one. I need more of the keywords, and I would like something with you taking criticism. But I have a lot about you working with others. I now need you to say with the criticism and directions. And I know you were expecting me to like roast this, but it's not the worst. Again, it's a C- resume. There's definitely improvements. Again, I care about the number of users, but not the page views. So I just want a little bit more tech, a little bit more about direction and criticism, and I want you to fix the formatting, and your ratio should improve quite a lot just by doing all of those. But I like where you're going with most of these. I know you're expecting a roast, but like it's not terrible. 500 applications, 10 interviews from those. It's a C minus. Next resume. This is another machine learning engineer. This person is an international student on an OPT, which is going to really tank your ratio. I usually get people a 1 in 7 ratio, but OPTs are going to get 1 in a 70 or 1 in 100 as like best. That's just how competitive it is. I've been actively applying for full-time roles since April. On average, I receive about 1 recruiter call for every 100 applications. That's phenomenal. For an international on an OPT, that's phenomenal. 1 in 100 is great. Well, I'm getting recruiter screenings. I also get rejected during or after the hiring manager round. Well, that's a bit of a different story. I tailor my resume for each application. Don't do that. You should be able to apply for more resumes if you don't do that. You don't need to tailor to each one. Just tailor to this. And I add a section at the top of saying moving to X by Y date. That is what you want to do if you're relocating. Would you recommend continuing this approach or better include a statement above my work experience? No. Continue this. Just don't tailor to each job. Just keep, the only thing you need to tailor is moving to X by Y date. That's it. Thank you for taking the time. But right now, that's pretty good. So let's see what we need. 20 seconds on the clock. And I'm expecting this to be pretty darn good. So, and go. Okay, degree, moving. Okay, perfect. Generative AI, machine learning using Python, PyTorch. Okay, perfect. A little bit more that. Developed and fine-tuned language, including GPT, Llama, BERT. Hugging Face, transform conversations, automate knowledge. Architected retrieval using LangChain, Llama, answer questions, semantic documented knowledge base. Containerized, scalable for cloud native. No. And time. You have too much fluff here. This is not terrible. I like the first sentence, right? Again, it's a little too technical, but I think it'll be okay. I like the first sentence. You have most of the things I need there. And then here, I don't really have much that I need, right? Like you already tell me the PyTorch and everything here. I don't know if there's anything here that isn't already said in the first one. And then this is good because we have LangChain, RAG, and some other stuff. Although, again, this is really only 2 keywords when I need 3 because RAG and LangChain. LlamaDex, fine, and that. Oh, you've already, done it. And then, again, you also need to describe the non-technical reason. And then this is written weird. Why do I care about cloud native AI deployment? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Why do I care about containerized? I don't know. You didn't tell me. Why do I care about Docker? I don't know. I don't. I do care about AWS and Vertex. So the only things I care about this are Vertex and that, and this is only 2 keywords. So again, you don't need the rest of that. And then this is understandable and I like. And this one is a good sentence. It's just too long. You've only been there for less than a year. You probably could get away with 3 bullet points for this one. In fact, I think you can do 3 bullet points for this one. So you need to combine the rest of these into here because there's just a lot of fluff. So I think you should do 3, maybe 4, but you need to combine all of these into here. And the rest of this is fine. So that's my big thing with this is it's not bad. You have some of the stuff, but again, this doesn't need to be 6 bullet points. You've only been there for a year. And you've been there for less than a year at the time of recording of this. Because this is recorded on June 10th. So I'm going to need you to shrink this and make it a little bit more understandable to layman on some of these, but you have the right idea. You just have to shrink it. And again, you need to apply to more roles. If you started working since April and you don't tell me how many, you just said it's 1 in 100. So yeah, your goal should be close to 100 applications a week. Most people that are not internationals need 50 a week. Internationals need close to 100 a week. So you should be doing 100 a week. You need to shrink this and make it slightly more relevant, remove some of the fluff, and you're going to probably be in the best situation that you can be for this. So That is all I can do for this resume, and that is it for this video. So thank you very much for watching and liking and subscribing. And I want to give an extra special thanks to my members. They get access to my videos a little bit early. You can join in the link below. Thank you very much for supporting this channel. And if you ever need your resume reviewed, you can always join my live stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. PST on twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter and right here on YouTube. So I will see you all in the next video to help you get ahead of your job search. Later.